Hello. And welcome back to And Then We Fought a Dragon.
And then we fought a dragon.
We actually made it back.
Whoa!
Look
at us go.
It feels good.
Yeah.
I'm Desiree.
And I'm Becky.
And we're doing recaps of D&D campaign. Most of this episode, last episode, next couple ones are all going to be catch up because it's been a while. Yeah. So we're going to jump into it quickly. I'm going to do just key points of relevance from the last catch up. And then we'll jump into everything that's happened. So this is campaign 2, second campaign. And they just, so much happened.
So much happened.
It
was a lot.
And if you watch the last one, you know that the notes that I took are just disastrous. And even now, I couldn't tell you what they're related to.
Nice.
But they, you went to a new village, saw new encounters, got some supplies, not some supplies.
We salted some dinosaur meat.
Yes, salted dinosaur meat. The turtle hut situation. There's some slugs. A lot of we went here. We made it here. Yeah. Traveling. There was one thing, the sleep bubble, that I was questioning that was related to the other campaign, but we'll figure it out eventually.
I'll remember to look that up when we do campaign 1.
Thankfully, all of this we're done with the Yaun-Ti people, which is the best news for me because heebie-jeebies abounding.
Yeah, they gross.
I couldn't even explain why. Well, I can, but it's just so off-putting to me.
They are really kind of rather gross creatures.
Yeah, scary and icky.
Yeah.
So big, huge battle. Lots of almost didn't make it out. Yeah. Specifically by you.
Yeah, I kept dying.
It felt like you really were at the negative receiving end.
And my notes were really wild during that last fight because I only take notes for stuff that Brenna knows in character. So I was unconscious for a lot of the fight.
Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of that information even in my notes because I was unconscious. So it just makes it feel even more chaotic, really.
Well, I mean, especially because you know, but I will never know.
Well, I don't know that I know it anymore. I knew at the time.
But at the time, it's weird to kind of experience, because you're experiencing it in the first person and the third person, and I'm experiencing it not in any what would you even call that?
Wall kind of thing.
Literally. I don't know, not to go on a big tangent, but there's this person who has these explanations on TikTok about the second dimension, third dimension, and the fourth dimension. And it's really funny and creepy and scary and weird.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm in the third dimension, but this person's in the second dimension, and they have no clue that I could just take this.
Those.
Yeah.
Rotate the baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. I'm the fourth dimension. I'm the one. But I guess it would be the opposite because I know so much. I'm the second dimension. I know nothing.
But you have no control over it.
Yeah. And you know so much, but you don't tell me so much. In terms of the other players, if they were telling the story, it would be a completely different story.
Totally.
Yeah. So anyways, okay. But I mean, I think that's the best part of it. That's what makes it really fun, because all other storylines either are in my imagination or just not relevant enough that I even am conscious of them. But the last thing was there was a leg missing. Someone's missing their leg.
Well, Selbane, it's the guy we came up to this island to find.
Okay, but
missing a leg.
And you had to
run away.
Part ways. Oh, right. That was sad. I should have written a little sad face so I didn't seem so excited. Sad face.
He was so excited that he was missing a leg.
Well, it was more hopeful. A leg missing, but maybe. No, it's just bad. But then the fog. That was the last thing, the fog. So we're picking up from there.
Yeah, we're just kind of running into the jungle at this point. So this was we did our rescue mission at sunset. My cat is leaving my lap. If I'm ever doing weird things with my hands, there's a cat on my lap. Not anymore though. So yeah, the party, we did our rescue mission for Salbane and Elnora at sunset. So now that we have got Elnora, at the very least, the sun has set, and we're just running into the dark, foggy jungle, basically, with Yaun-Ti now alerted to our presence after the big fog cloud to get out. And we're just running. Mako's literally carrying Elnora because she's obviously very malnourished and sick from being held captive for weeks. I think at this time is a weird thing in D&D because a day can take like 4 sessions, or you can have 5 days in one session or more. So it's very hard to tell how
It's
long
also
time has gone on.
And you also do not communicate time indicators
I'm bad at it
at all, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
But my timeline for things is
all been one day, actually. All of this, the campaign so far, one day.
Well, I mean, essentially, I have to make it up. I have to be like, it's nighttime now, it's daytime now, it's nighttime now, it's daytime now, because there's no indicators.
Yeah.
All of this could have happened in like 16 years if I wanted it to.
Maybe.
Right? Like when you're like, we're walking, I'm like, they've been wandering for 5 years. Because there's no time indicators.
No food or water, uphill both ways. Anyway. Yeah, so Mako's carrying Elnora as we run through the night. There's like vines and branches whacking us in the face. Sumi's trying to hide our tracks behind us because she was an earthbender that day. She chooses her element each day. So she's trying to kind of hide our tracks a little bit, but we're really going for speed over stealth at this point because we just need to make distance between us and the Yaun-Ti. We did have to fight off, I think like 4 of them eventually caught up to us, and we had to talk really quickly. What?
There was just a little disturbance. I don't know if it bothered you, but I just wanted to acknowledge it. Well, a notification that I
wearing a Star Wars shirt. That does seem appropriate that there's a disturbance in the Force.
Oh no. What will we do?
Anyway, we did have to like quickly fight off about 4 Yaun-Ti that caught up to us while we were running, but managed to get past them and just keep going. And we're taking what's called exhaustion points as we run. So when your character goes beyond the time period when they should be having a long rest, an overnight sleep, your DM can have you roll Constitution saves to see if you roll above a certain amount. And if you roll below, you get levels of exhaustion. And there's 6 levels total, each of which give you like an extended number of disadvantages, basically. So you want to try and avoid getting exhaustion points. But I was rolling really badly on my Constitution saves.
Did you use different? I think you said something about how your dice were like acting up. Did you use different dice?
Oh, I'm regularly switching what dice I'm using every week. There's new dice in the jail. But I was down to 3 levels of exhaustion, which means I have disadvantage on ability checks. So basically any roll that I do. My speed is halved. Big problem in the current situation that we're in. And I get disadvantage on attacks and saves, which makes any further saves against exhaustion points really difficult. I'm going to put that out there.
So you're just being dragged like 50 feet behind?
So there was other people who had exhaustion points, but I think I rolled the worst. I think I had the most exhaustion points. And we're just trying to run. We're helping each other along. We had a few other encounters with jungle creatures at night just because they live in the jungle. It's their jungle, but managed to keep carrying on. And at this point, we've been running like 5 hours into the night. Like it's like 3-4 in the morning or what have you. So we really need to take a long rest at this point. We're hoping we have enough space between us and the Serpent's Eye Temple. So Sumi kind of earthbends a hole in the ground and I tiny head on top of it so that we're like low down and hopefully not noticeable. And we take a long rest, which is good. So for exhaustion points, every long rest, you go back up an exhaustion point. So if I have 3, I'll need 3 long rests to recover and back up to normal. So we get a rest. Elnora has so many exhaustion points that she's just like unconscious at this point. She's okay. She will recover, but she's just been through a lot. poor girl.
Yeah.
So we let her sleep in the tiny hut. And the next morning, we pull out Salbane's box that he told us about, because we definitely stole that from his house when we were there a few months ago and have been carrying it with us the whole time.
That's the one with the key.
That's the one with the key. It's got, well, it has a fancy lock on it that we couldn't break into, which is why we haven't opened it before now. But he told us about this box because it has a letter for the Elven Princess that he's asked us to deliver, and then he said we could just have any money that was in it. So,
but you already took that.
Well, we hadn't opened it yet, so we pull it out now to open it.
I think we literally repeating a conversation.
He gave us the key.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Yes.
So we have the letter now. Sumi has that in her pocket, and it had like 300 platinum in it, which is a lot of money. So that's nice because
did you read the letter?
Funds. Pardon?
You read the letter?
I can't remember if we did or not. I think we chose not to because it's not for us, and we were trying to be respectful, even though we literally stole his box.
That'll be a first.
This was his dying wish, so we're just gonna go deliver it to his girlfriend, who will never be able to see him again because of our failure and the deep guilt and remorse.
So it takes untimely death for you guys to have like a moderate moral compass.
Yeah. It's a bit late, but we got there, you know.
That's
I
fine.
don't think we read it.
Okay.
But I don't have in my notes that we did. And anyway, at that point we decide, okay, maybe we should gently wake up Elnora and kind of tell her what's going on a little bit, just so, well, before we start running again. So Sumi and Brenna, the guys put us forward as like the girls, basically. We're hopefully less scary, I guess, than honestly we are. We've got a fish man, we've got a super hot goth boy, we've got a Tabaxi, and Glenn. Glenn's not intimidating, but anyway, Sumi.
Poor and Glenn.
Glenn is often coming in clutch, but often takes the brunt of our mockery. Sumi and Brenna wake up Elnora, and she's obviously kind of freaked out about what's happening, what she's been through, and asks where Salbane is, because he's been her friend and constant for the last few weeks and has been keeping her safe and trying to get her home. So we have to explain that he stayed behind to help us escape and is dead. And obviously there are tears, etc. We explain to her what's happening, that we're bringing her home, that we're going to get her back to Havenport, and she really wants to go home, so she's on board with that. She trusts us. And we give her some food and explain that we're going to the village of tall trees first to kind of make sure that we're hidden from the Yaun-Ti, shake them, and then we'll head back to
Don't you have business there?
Sort of. So tall
Aren't supposed to be killing somebody?
Well, that's in Scarbia. Yeah, we're
Scarbia.
Yeah, that's Yolanda, the hag's mission for us. But Tall Trees has an undetermined connection to Viper that apparently we know from Fang and Falcon, who are two other Tabaxi that we met in Scarbia, that there's going to be a big meeting of the Tabaxi clans in Tall Trees, like imminently. At this point, it's going to be in a couple days, basically. And it's to do with some stuff that happened, a conflict between the Tall Trees tribe and a nearby village of lizard folk. There's a conflict that happened there, and they need to have this big meeting of all the clans to kind of figure out how they're going to deal with it. And Fang had invited or asked if Viper was going to be there, but Viper had claimed he was scared of heights and stuff and didn't want to go to Tall Trees. And now when we decided we had to run from the Yaun-Ti, Viper was like, hey, Tall Trees isn't too far. We could go over there. And we were all like, something sus is here, but yes, we need somewhere to hide. So
all these secrets.
Yeah. So we're heading towards Tall Trees. And at this point in the morning, we start running again. Mako's helping Brenna along. Sumi's helping Elnora along because we've still got half speed with our exhaustion points. So we're going much slower than before, but we're still going. And we run all day without really encountering any more fights. We have another long rest. The next day, we have a brief encounter with a herd of dinosaurs that live in the jungle that we just kind of ran into. But hello, Tangerine. Dez's cat is on screen right now. So cute.
Cat visitor.
Look at this beautiful kitty. Anyway, we fight off the raptors. And at this point, we're about like a day and a half away from tall trees. We passed by various jungle creatures. There was these cute little ones that are like these little plant creatures that had like little plant doggies or horses with them, and they were like collecting little mushrooms and stones and things. And so
That's cute.
They didn't do anything.
Oh, well,
can you hear my cat making
yes,
noise?
I can.
It's my cat, sorry. But yeah, they were cute and harmless, seemingly. So always nice to encounter harmless things in the jungle.
I just want everyone to know this is not usual. My cat does not like me this much, but apparently is jealous.
He wants to be on camera. He's like, I'm a star.
Yeah.
I deserve to be here. So we finished the day after fighting our raptors, have a long rest, should arrive tomorrow. The next day we come to this area where the ground is like red clay and kind of like pockmarked all over. And suddenly, as we're walking through it, the ground begins shifting, and these 5 giant scorpions emerge.
No.
Off, and we accidentally walked into a scorpion nest. So that was unfortunate.
Like in Lord of the Rings, the spiders?
Kind of, yeah, but scorpions. So I would argue worse, but
yeah. Well, those spiders were scary.
They were. But anyway, Glenn got knocked unconscious. Nathaniel almost got knocked unconscious. But we managed to kill said scorpions and carry on our way. The trees are getting noticeably taller. So that's good. We're thinking like redwoods here, like hundreds of feet tall trees. And Sumi kind of notices that there's not really any atmospheric noise around here. Like there's no birds. It's really just silence and us walking. So that was a little weird. And then Glenn notices that there are 9 Tabaxi panthers in the trees above us, watching us. And as they see him notice us, they all kind of drop down to the ground and surround us holding weapons. And so this is like, again, a Lord of the Rings reference, because that's my favorite thing. When the Fellowship is entering Lothlorien, and then all the elves surround them, and they're just like, the dwarf was so loud we could hear him in the dark, kind of thing. It's that kind of situation. And they recognize Viper and are very surprised to see him back.
Oh.
Turns out Viper was forced out of tall trees.
Of course.
Is where he comes from. He didn't leave by choice, did something that the clan disagreed with, and turns out Viper's a prince. Which I will say I called very early in the campaign as a joke. We had been talking, I can't even remember the context of it, but I know I said it. We were chatting about Viper's backstory at one point, very minimally, because we don't know anyone's backstory. And I joked, maybe Viper's a secret prince. And I got some weird looks, and I decided not to push it. And Viper's an actual secret prince. So, yay.
You should get intuition, like,
right?
Boosters.
Right? Yeah. I am so pleased. This is a tangent. It drives me nuts when I do this, when I'm reading actual book series or like watching TV series where I predict what's going to happen in a book, a couple episodes.
It also drives me crazy because Rebecca likes to say them out loud.
Well, I accidentally almost spoiled this for everybody, apparently, because I said it out loud, but at least I had the presence not to push it. No. But it was very satisfying.
I was just going to say, it's so satisfying when you're right.
So satisfying.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, it was more satisfying. In a book, it's like I've literally spoiled it for myself. But for this kind of situation, I'm like, I was right.
Not to take the tangent even further, but I remember we were watching Stone of Destiny, which is actual history. So it's like not hard to know the ending. But I remember you like predicted it. And it was like a group of us.
I didn't know the history.
And all of us were like, yeah, maybe that's what's going to happen.
I process verbally, okay?
Which is, it's fun. It's all fine.
Anyway, secret prince. Hello, Tangerine. That's a great look of your chin. Viper's a secret prince.
Okay, yeah.
So the party that has encountered us says they'll escort us into tall trees to Viper's dad, who can then decide what's going to happen. And they're all kind of like bowing to Viper awkwardly because obviously he got kicked out, but he's still royalty, right? So like, how do we deal with him, kind of thing? Yeah. But they escort us back to the village. and get ropes to help us climb up, because the village is actually up in the trees. It's not on the ground.
Like in Robin Hood.
Yeah, Robin Hood, or like Ewok village kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But as
Also that.
Tabaxi, they just use their claws to climb the trees, so there's not really ladders or anything. So we need some ropes to help us up, because it's like 100, 200 feet up. And it's like tree houses and platforms and rope bridges and the whole shebang. And they bring us over to this kind of bigger meeting hut. And as we're going by, we're passing, you know, the other Tabaxi in the village. And many of them are recognizing Viper and seeming shocked and some angry to see him back. So
what did he do?
Excellent. So we go into this big meeting hut. Please don't scratch the couch, cat. And an older Tabaxi is standing at the table. There's like a big round table in the middle of the room. And he's standing there. He's got like fancy necklace with hunting trophies and whatnot, clearly in charge. And there's a second younger Tabaxi who looks like he's been in a fight more recently, perhaps. And we follow our escort example and bow as we approach in respect for the chief of the clan, I guess. And the older Tabaxi is not thrilled to see Viper, predictably. And this is his dad. Heads up. Lots of hard to remember names in the Tabaxi.
That's fine. I
Reminder that Viper's full name is the Viper who flicks his tongue. So
that's a name.
Dad is named Leopard in High Grass.
Okay.
Further referred to as High Grass. And Viper tells his dad that we, the party, are the knowledge that he promised to bring back from the world. And we're all like,
unbeknownst to us, I'm now knowledge.
We are knowledge. And Viper's like, yeah, Glenn builds things, Brenna sings and tells stories, Mako is half fish, Sumi blends the elements, and Nathaniel is very strong.
This is a little bit Bug's Life-y. This is the plot of the Bug's Life.
Amazing. I loved that these are all actual things that Viper's character, Viper's player, had said in complimenting each of us. So like Glenn builds things, Brenna sings, etc. Mako is half fish was the compliment Mako got.
I feel like that's just an observation of reality, not necessarily a compliment.
No character for Mako. He's just a fish.
Nah, that's Fishman over there.
Yeah. So we were all like, okay, we're knowledge now. And High Grass, I've got a cat on my lap again. High Grass kind of decides to extend a hand out to Viper and says, we could use your help at this time, but your past is not forgiven, kind of thing. So he's come at a good time, but there's still drama. So we're escorted to a guest cabin, which is very nice of them to provide. And once we get there, we ask Viper, what the heck is going on? What happened, why he left, etc. And apparently, Viper learned the lizard folk magic, which was not allowed in the Tabaxi clan. Magic is pretty uncommon among the Tabaxi. Like learned arcane magic is pretty uncommon. They have druids.
No, just short
and stuff.
Short. What is it called? Shorthand magic. Just like card tricks.
yeah, basically. No card tricks. No pulling rabbits out of hats. Really bad.
Like, yeah. Oh, so funny.
No, they have like druids and clerics, like healing and nature magic. Yeah. In the D&D world, would be magic you're born with. But then there's magic of like sorcerers, and most of the other magic classes would be learned magic. And so that kind of stuff is more frowned upon. And Viper was seeking out the more arcane magic, which got him in trouble and kind of embarrassed the family. And he was sent away from home under the pretense that he was going to go find information about the world, when really it was because of the magic. They were just trying to save the royal family face. It was basically a changing the narrative thing. So when we got into the room and he announced us as the knowledge, that was for everyone else's view.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But we had heard from, obviously, like I explained earlier, from Fang and Falcon, like we know there's about to be a clan meeting here. So presumably that's why Viper has arrived at a good time, that his perspective, I guess, could be useful in this. And the younger Tabaxi, who is in the meeting room with his dad, is his brother.
Scraggly one?
Pardon?
The scraggly one?
The one who'd been in a fight, yeah, is his brother.
Okay.
Who seemingly is the one who killed one of the lizard folk. And now there's an issue of maybe there being some war or something, because it seems to have been unjust combat, breaking an existing alliance between the Tabaxi and the lizard folk, because the lizard folk person he killed was like a prince in the lizard clan, essentially. So now they want, like, you killed one of ours, we want to kill one of yours, kind of thing. And that's not good. His brother's name is Three Prongs of Lightning.
What does he get called?
Further referred to as Three Prongs.
It's so absurd what they choose to emphasize.
Well, I don't remember. No, I think we did. Yeah, that was just who they were referred to as. I don't think it's just my notes.
It's just it doesn't seem to follow any sort of pattern, like what part they emphasize.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, so Three Prongs. And then suddenly Falcon, again, who we met in Scarbia, walks into the cabin. Turns out he's Viper's cousin. So
no one wanted to mention that earlier.
No one wanted to mention that. Yeah. And him and Viper had been having conversations away from the rest of us earlier because they're cousins. And obviously he was party to the situation at hand. So we chat with him a bit and we're like, wow, you're here. What do you know about Trido? Who's the guy that we have to kill in Scarbia? So we get some information about him on just identifying Trido in general, habits and things. There really isn't much to go off of. But hey, at least we have some information now. Yeah. And after he leaves, we ask Viper about this incident with Three Prongs killing the lizard folk. And like, does this seem in character for his brother, or does this seem like weird and totally different from what he would expect? And he says he's not totally sure, but his brother did seem off when we came in earlier. And decides that he's going to sneak out the window of the guest cabin that we've been told not to leave and go visit his brother in his brother's cabins. So he sneaks out. He's very sneaky. He's going to be able to do it. And I minor illusion him lying in a corner of one of the cabin, like sleeping under a blanket, just in case the guards check in on us, because there are guards outside our door. So we got cover, at least, I guess. And we all just kind of looked really unsuspicious for a while, waiting for him to come back. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. We're just bopping to ourselves in the cabin. And then after a bit, Viper comes back. And he thinks his brother is innocent. It does feel very uncharacteristic. And having talked to his brother, he's arguing for innocence here. Three Prong says that the lizard folk Erling attacked him unprovoked, like just spontaneously attacked him, and so he had to kill him in self-defense. Yeah. The two of them had been meeting regularly at kind of the spot between where their clans live, and one day he just came out of the water to their meeting place, attacked him, and Three Prongs had to kill him so he didn't die, basically.
They
were meeting to talk about Yaun-Ti movement on their borders. They're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Their truce is basically to protect both clans. So they're unified against the Yaun-Ti.
It wasn't forbidden love?
No, it wasn't forbidden love. That we know of. The Three Prongs is owned up to. Who knows?
Exactly. Who knows?
Who knows? Three Prongs says he can't think of a motivation for why the lizard folk would attack him. They definitely didn't just have a bad breakup. Anyway.
Jealousy.
So, like, maybe it was an assassination attempt. Who knows? So, anyway, the decision seems to be Three Prongs is arguing his own innocence, and Viper believes him. So we take a long rest, and the next morning, we're obviously still in Tall Trees, and we are summoned to attend the clan meeting. We non-Tabaxi party members have been granted permission to attend, though we are not allowed to speak during the meeting. We're just sitting in the back, observing and listening. And we go into this large center hut that we were in yesterday, and it's now filled with tons of tabaxi from all 5 of the clans. So there's leopards and lynx and panthers and lions and mountain lions. Oh my. And all of them filling up. And Fang is here, who we saw in Scarbia. If you remember Fang, he's like the ultimate himbo. He was in the fighting rings at Scarbia, just beating a bunch of people up and winning a lot and getting a lot of money. He's a good guy. Just
I have no recollection of that.
He's very sweet and not terribly clever, but we love him all the same, and he's very enthusiastic, and he was very nice to us. So we're very happy to see him again. He's happy to see us. However, Viper then admits to Fang that he's not actually from Muddy Marsh like he claimed when we met Fang. He's from here in Tall Trees. And Fang is really sad that he was lied to. Understandably, and just kind of sadly goes back to his seat across the room. And we're all like, Viper, you did this to our friend Fang. So that was unfortunate. But then the meeting starts getting started, and several older Tabaxi in like fancy headdresses enter the room, and these are 5 elders of the clans. And one of the elders, whose name is Rain in High Winds, I think we refer to him as High Winds.
Oh, that's
yeah. Rain in High Winds is furious to see Viper there, and just like shouts out across the room, "This one is banished. Why is he here?" And says that Viper brought shame to the clan and everything they stand for, and is like getting kind of worked up. And Viper's dad steps forward and kind of defends Viper enough to tell High Winds to be quiet, basically. And the elder concedes to him, but is clearly not happy that Viper is there. And Viper's dad opens the meeting. The lizard folk are demanding that the Tabaxi hand 3 prongs over to them to atone for the killing of their prince.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't, the truce will be voided and there will be a war between the lizard folk and the Tabaxi clans.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to show weakness to the lizard folk, but all 4 of the other clans would rather hand 3 prongs over than go to war with the lizard folk. And Highgrass does not want to hand his son over, understandably. 3 prongs is just staying very quiet while his dad defends him, whether by choice or his dad told him to sit there and shut up. Who knows? But he's just being very quiet while his dad defends him.
Doesn't want to expose his love affair.
Someone calls out that the clans should just cut off Tall Trees, and this can be Tall Trees war, Tall Trees problem. The other clans will separate from them, so that would also be kind of a bad thing.
Yeah.
So the clans traditionally work together.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, Viper speaks up and asks who among them was there to see what happened, and no one says anything. 3 prongs says no one else was there to witness and to prove what happened. So there's no evidence either way, whether 3 prongs just randomly decided to kill this guy or whether it was self-defense, which Viper points out, self-defense is permitted. Maybe it was self-defense. And the other clans are kind of basically saying they don't care. The lizard folk want blood and they're going to have it either way. They're going to have 3 prongs or they're going to have war. We would rather them have 3 prongs.
Yeah.
And Viper's kind of defending his brother's character, like, he's not the kind of guy who's going to go randomly, spontaneously killing people, especially when it's going to break a truce between his clan, etc. And Fang voices up at this point that, like, maybe they've overlooked something when they looked into the situation as clans before we arrived. And he's one of the leaders of his clan. And so he voices that his clan supports that Viper should be given some time to try to prove his brother's innocence before a decision is made to hand 3 prongs over or to cut off Tall Trees, either way. And seemingly having some influence, it's agreed upon that Viper and us, the party, will be given 2 days to find proof of 3 prongs' innocence, or the clans will make their decision, be it what it may. And the meeting is adjourned. And as the elders get up to leave, Brenna, who has very high insight, which I love, can tell that the elder, High Winds, is really mad that Viper is holding up the handing over of 3 prongs. And like, he is struggling not to speak up about it. and keep pushing this and to hide his anger. He's really mad that Viper's been given time to prove Three Prong's innocence. So we all leave and go back to our guest cabin. Viper rejoins with us, and we kind of are theorizing about what's up. So Sumi's wondering, like, will the lizard folk keep sending assassins? Are they really intent on killing Three Prong specifically?
Yeah.
And Brenna mentions that Highwinds was obviously really mad at Viper. We all saw that. And Viper says Highwinds was one of the most vocal about banishing him when he was sent away. So it sort of seems like Highwinds wants both of the brothers gone.
Yeah.
Interesting. He's really pushing this. So we were wondering, does Highwinds have magic himself? And Viper's not really sure, not to his knowledge, at least. And we were wondering, like, could Three Prongs meeting with the lizard folk have angered Highwinds? Maybe he was getting too chummy. He was worried what happened with Viper was going to happen with Three Prongs.
Jealous that they fell in love.
Maybe they fell in love. Yeah, totally. It's just forbidden love every time.
This is the first time I've ever been like, love plot line. Obviously, I'm very aware. It's just funny to me.
Yeah, so we're all theorizing. And then we have a long rest because long meeting day. And now we wake up, we have 2 days to prove Three Prong's innocence. And we're really good at planning things. We're really good at getting things done in a limited amount of time. So this is going to go really well.
I'm so excited.
We decide Eleanor's gonna stay resting in the guest hut because, let's be frank, she's not super useful to this operation and just needs a lot of rest.
That frail body's not gonna be any help here.
Exactly. Also, she's just a little rich girl. She's not gonna really help us a whole lot. So we leave her to rest and just hang out in her vacation hut treehouse and make a to-do list. So we have 3 things we want to do. We have to check the scene of the crime where they were meeting. We have to hopefully talk to some of the lizard folk and maybe get their side of the story. Could be useful. And we want to investigate the super sus elder, Rain and Highwinds, because we don't like him. And he doesn't seem to like Viper or Three Prongs. So we're going to start with the scene of the crime. And we decide to head out to Tall Trees. As we're heading out kind of along the bridges, we see a cluster of a dozen or 2 Tabaxi all gathered outside the main hut. And Highwinds is like up on a box addressing the crowd. So we kind of walk over to listen. And the crowd is scared and angry. They're worked up. And Highwinds is trying to calm them down. You know, the elders are not trying to cause war. We're trying to do what's best for Tall Trees. He's assuring them that Highgrass has their best interests in mind. And the crowd is clearly not super supportive of Highgrass and how he's been defending Three Prongs. And they're worried he's putting Tall Trees at risk, kind of thing. And
these names are so confusing.
I know, right? They're worried Viper's dad, the chief, is putting Tall Trees at risk for his...
I just can't tell the difference between a place and a person or a character.
I know. Imagine playing through this whole game.
I would have been like, hey guys, can we just number everything? Characters get numbers, places get letters.
Perfect. Yeah. Other way around, baby. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Highwinds, the elder, is kind of assuring them, don't worry, the elders will talk reason into Highgrass and not abandon the people of Tall Trees. And Brenna can tell that he's being real intentional with the language that he's using. And he's kind of planting seeds of discord there so that the trust is in the elders and not in Highgrass. And there's maybe some mutiny bubbling under this here, which is interesting. And he definitely begins speaking quieter as soon as he notices us coming closer. So we considered maybe checking out his house while he's clearly here and not in his house, but it's middle of the day. There's lots of people around. It would be really difficult to do it without being seen. So we decided not to do that. We will indeed go check out Scene of the Crime. And as we're walking across the bridges, Brenna plays, I have an instrument of illusions that as I play it, like little illusional figures come out as I wish. And so I'm like Pied Piping the Tabaxi children along the bridges. It was a great time. And then Glenn suggests that, well, it would take too long for us to get ropes and climb down the trees. Why don't we just all jump and I'll cast Featherfall on us, and we'll parachute down and descend safely. He has this spell called Featherfall that slows you down so that you don't splat on the ground. That is the whole purpose of the spell. But it's like 250 feet down, and in the moment I decided Brenna's scared of heights. And so I said, no, I don't want to jump off a tree and trust that your spell is going to keep me from falling flat on the ground. So we had a bit of a disagreement about that. And Glenn rolled a natural 20 persuasion check, so I was kind of obliged to jump off a tree.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I was obliged.
Yeah. So I agreed to try. He cast Featherfall, and so we got to the bottom, and I was like, that was kind of fun. Maybe we should do that again. So we like our method of getting down now, which is excellent.
I mean, at least we got there.
We got there. And we head to the meeting spot, which was like, I think half a day away or something, not too far, where Three Prongs and the lizard folk person were meeting.
Half a day?
It was an hour. It wasn't terribly long, but compared to having to walk for weeks, you know.
But in my head, they were like in a clearing around the bend.
Yeah, it's two different tribes. They're meeting in the middle, right?
Okay.
So they don't want to live too close to each other.
That makes sense.
It is a clearing. In the trees, kind of at the edge of the swamp. So like a jungle beach, if you will.
I don't think I've ever heard those two words put together. Jungle beach.
It's a jungle beach. And the bugs are bad.
Wouldn't that just be a swamp?
It's a swamp, 100%. But there's like a land to swamp area. So that's the beach part, you know?
I love being delusional.
I'm trying to make the best of a bad time, you know?
That's what I mean, that's what we need in the world.
Exactly. But as we get there, it's clear that there's been a lot of foot traffic around here since this happened. Because it happened, I think, a couple weeks ago. It's not recent. So it's probably ruined a lot of the evidence that we might have been able to find. The
compromised scene of the crime.
Exactly. Yeah, they didn't like rope it off or anything. It was poorly handled. But the trees are smaller here. There's lots of mossy boulders. And I have in my notes here actually a beach into the swamp. So I'm not too delusional.
Or you just have always been delusional. Whatever. However you want to spin it.
Nathaniel looks around and he doesn't really see evidence of someone having hidden and like been watching activity in the clearing, like spying on the conversations. Glenn's looking at the boulders and he notices there's like a lot of dead creatures around the boulder. Some have been dead for a long time, but some more recently. So that's weird. Brenda's kind of scanning out to see if we can currently see anyone around watching us, observing this area. And Sumi joins Glenn with looking at this boulder and these animals around and notices that a lot of them have died pretty graphically, like not natural causes, as if they've been fighting each other to the death. And Mako's looking around the water and there's not a lot of living things in the water. It's also just a lot of dead water creatures that also kind of looked like they died fighting each other. And he's getting a magic sense from the floor of the bog about 30 feet out in the water.
I made me scared suddenly.
I got spooky. So Mako pulls out his handy dandy folding boat because that's our favorite. It was a joke thing when we got it, but honestly, it's the best magic item ever. So they make a little canoe and they row out to where he's sensing this magic. And then
I would have been like, let's turn around.
Sumi water bends it away so that we don't have to touch the water because clearly something's sus around there. And Viper uses his magic mage hand to pick up this medium-sized rock that's sitting at the bottom, bubbling. And it has arcane runes carved on it. So clearly bad news, but we don't want to touch it. So he uses this magic hand to touch it and put it at the bottom of the boat so that no one's touching it with bare skin and stuff. And they head back to the beach. And yeah.
The pristine white sand.
It's beautiful out there.
The palm trees, the hammocks.
Yeah, the dead creatures. So Glenn casts Identify on the rock and the runes that are carved into it. And it's kind of imbued with this spell that's similar to one called Crown of Madness. That's a charm spell that makes an affected creature go crazy and become violent. But this isn't quite the same magic. It's been manipulated somehow. It's not true enchantment magic. There are different classes of magic. So there's like enchantment magic, there's necromancy magic, there's
My least favorite kind of magic.
yeah, lots of different kinds of magic. So the original Crown of Madness spell is an enchantment spell, but this one isn't an enchantment spell. So it's been manipulated, and it seems that this magic is affecting everything in a range rather than a single target like the Crown of Madness spell does. And he's getting this weird sense from, like, I guess studies that he's done, that this is unlike any magic that exists today. And there's an old school of magic that was such a bad school of magic, it got banned everywhere, and it's blood magic. You having a good time back there?
It makes me so uncomfortable.
Just wait.
No, I don't. I don't want to. I'm scared.
As we're studying the rock, Brennan notices a lizard folk individual standing watching us from about 60 feet away. So as we notice them, they turn around and begin to run away. So Nathaniel casts hold person to stop them from running away, and we catch up to them. And Mako attempts to cast a zone of truth so that no one can lie in this space and we can ask some questions. But it fails, unfortunately. So Brenna casts charm person instead. I don't know why we immediately went panic, charm them, rather than just like asking questions like normal people would.
We didn't give him a chance.
We kind of panicked, so I charmed them, and we started asking some questions. And she knew the lizard folk individual that Viper learned magic from when he was learning magic from them, and she was actually raised by him. They didn't know each other, but they have this person in common, obviously. And that person was killed when the Yaun-Ti attacked their village, and killed a lot of them, basically. She says it was really strange because the Yaun-Ti knew where their strongest fighters were and took them out in the middle of the night so that they could then attack the entire village, kind of thing. And so it was like a planned attack, which seems kind of uncommon from how the Yaun-Ti usually operate. So we're asking her, like, do the Yaun-Ti know blood magic? No, that's scary. Do the Yaun-Ti know blood magic? Like, could they be trying to take the tribes down, get them to take down each other so that the society collapses and the Yaun-Ti can take over or something like that? But Yaun-Ti don't perform arcane magic, so it doesn't seem likely to have been the Yaun-Ti making this kind of magic. And she says no one in their village has gotten sick recently, but people go missing a lot, because we're wondering, like, was there some kind of sickness affecting Three Prong, or the lizard folk that attacked Three Prongs? But no, seemingly not. And so we arranged to meet her and the lizard folk elders at the same clearing tomorrow evening, because then we will either be able to present proof that Three Prongs is innocent, that we will have hopefully found by then, or I guess we'll be handing Three Prongs over. So she agrees to this, she leaves, and we decide to head back to Tall Trees and do some science experiments with our rock. Why are you scared of the evil rock?
This stuff is so scary to me.
It's spooky.
It makes me feel
Yeah. So we have our evil rock that we're trying not to touch because it's scary. And Viper goes up into the village because he can climb faster than we could get ropes and whatnot, and comes back with an animal trap and a bucket of water. So we put the rock in the bucket of water to create us some evil water with our evil rock. And we set the trap up to try to catch a jungle creature, and we're going to try and feed it magic water and see what happens. So we catch a little iguana creature. It's not thrilled to have been caught, but we put a little bowl of evil water in the cage, and we sit there and we wait for it to drink. And we wait for like almost an hour, and it's just angry at us and it doesn't want to drink. So it finally takes a drink, and then nothing happens. And it seems fine. And we're like, that was really anticlimactic. We waited an hour for this. So we wait a little longer, and Mako tosses a bowl of the water onto the lizard because he's getting impatient, and it starts freaking out. Like, its eyes grow red, and it's bashing itself against the cage, trying to get out, like ignoring to how it's actually injuring itself. And so I cast Dispel Magic on it really fast because it's hurting itself, and this is bad, and I don't like animal experimentation anymore. And the animal calms down, and I cast a healing word on it because it had injured itself. And so now it's okay because it's just a tiny creature, so I could heal it fully. It's all better. Nothing happened. So the water's evil. Don't touch the water. So we go back up.
But it's okay to drink the water.
Seemingly, it's very, but we probably don't want to drink the water either way. So we go back up to our tree hut with our bucket of water with the rock and our little lizard. I don't know why we didn't free the lizard. I guess he's our pet now. And so we decided we're gonna take a tour around the village, quote unquote, with Mako and Glenn detecting magic as we go to see if they can get any similar feeling magic from one of the huts. Maybe someone here has presence of that kind of magic on them. This is making so many I'm really uncomfortable faces right now.
I just got the chills. I feel nauseous.
Do we need to stop?
No, it just is scary, so we should just hurry up.
We should keep going? Okay. So we're going to go scout and see if the guys can get vibes of any similar magic. Glenn gives Elnora this horn that he has that's a horn of silent alarm in case she needs us. And Glenn is a super awkward human being. It's amazing how awkward he is. And so he really kind of freaks Elnora out, giving her this horn of alarm in case she needs to call us. You know, it blows silently, so when you blow my horn, no one will hear it, but I'll hear it secretly in my head, kind of thing. And she's like, okay, I'm not going to touch that.
If you blow this, I'll just catch a vibe.
Yeah, basically. So he didn't mean to be that awkward, but it definitely came out that way.
I appreciate the awkwardness.
Yeah. And we leave, and she's probably really glad that we just left. So we walk around the village really slowly, getting the tour. And there's no pings of magic at Highwind, the Elder's house. There's no pings of magic at Three Prongs, Viper's brother's house. We head towards the main building, and the Elders and Highgrass are meeting in there. We're not getting any vibes of magic from any of them. So we head back to Highwind's, the Elder's hut. We haven't got any magic vibes from anywhere. So we decide, excellent, it's time to scout out his house. And Brenna turns Glenn and Viper invisible, and the rest of us go chill at the nearest bridge so that we're not all like super awkwardly hanging out in front of his house while our friends break into it. So we go hang out further down, enjoy the view, you know, and then Glenn and Viper come back, and they found a trap door in his house leading to a well-used path down the tree of his house and away into the jungle where no one else would be going. So we parachute back down to the ground to investigate where that goes. And that's where I'm going to end.
Oh my god.
You all right?
I'm in distress. And I got the heebie-jeebies.
It's not Yaun-Ti, though.
It's seemingly worse, I'm going to say. I think I preferred the Yaun-Ti because they were just gross, scary creatures. This is unpredictable magic.
Yeah, that's
fully fair. Don't do well with magic. It's so off-putting to me, and I'm very afraid. I feel so exhausted.
Imagine if you just played a 6-hour game going through this.
This is literally why this is what's happening, because I couldn't. I'd be like, okay, and I'd be like, you know what, I'm unable to.
Bye, guys.
I'm emotionally, mentally, physically exhausted.
It's a lot some days. Last week, this is a slight tangent, or the week before, I can't remember. The last session we played, I then had something later that evening, and then had something the day after that, and I was like, I have made a serious mistake. My body is exhausted. It was rough.
It's worn completely down.
Yeah. So what notes did you get from that wild ride?
There's large gaps.
Because you were just so into the story, just enthralled.
The more I crouched, the less I was able to comprehend reality, and like I can barely keep my eyes open. I am so tired. I mean, that has
about this. Actually, hopefully not. It is a little spooky. Don't dream about it.
No, that's influenced by many things, but this is just like I don't know. I guess because I don't know what happens next. It's just
Yeah.
so many
The suspense.
outcomes. Yeah. But okay, so it started off pretty fine. Like you were on a go, just a lot of overcoming predictable obstacles in terms of getting away. You there was like figuring out the box, the key box. You got some platinum money, whatever. You just, the goal at the beginning was just to get back and get Elnora back to where she belongs. And then you get a little
we knew we were gonna have to detour because we knew we were gonna need somewhere to rest.
Yeah, but this is not restful.
Yeah, no, this suddenly became more than we signed up for really quickly.
So right now, my first note before I know anything is happening, just after like I've just wrote notes about like getting out, going going home, all this stuff. It's just I just have tall trees secrets because I just know. And then there was a little bit about the scorpions. I thought that was gonna be more than it was, but I mean, we got through it. Then the revelation, Prince Viper. Surprise, surprise. No one would have thought, except you did.
I don't remember why I thought that, and I wish I did. I looked back in my notes yesterday to be like, did I write down when I predicted that he was a secret prince? And I didn't, and it bugs me because I can't remember why, like what triggered it.
Yeah.
But I'm so satisfied.
I mean, it is impressive because for me, there was no indication at all, obviously.
Right? Like it's one thing to predict a book or a TV show where often there are fairly predictable tropes that are happening. But in a completely improv game of characters that are created by individual people, you're not generally seeing as many of those tropes unless everyone's kind of consciously playing into them a little bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what made it more satisfying for me. Anyway.
And also to have like no hints, right? There was no hints.
No.
At all.
He's just some random scammer who came from the other continent was all we knew of him before now, basically.
So pretty exciting, but also even like, I mean, the some secrets revealed, but also adds a whole nother layer of more secrets. And then it just gets worse because, well, you find out, I mean, I like the Bug's Life parallels. That was funny to me. I mean, maybe not intentional, but still funny.
I rewatch Bug's Life. That was not intentional at all, but I love it.
So, I don't know why I wrote this because this was before everything, but I just wrote magic bad. This was before anything was revealed.
Well, the Tabaxi clans don't like magic.
Well, yeah, okay, right.
So that would be
there's that. But I mean, it just gets worse. So magic bad, and then potential war with the lizards.
Yeah.
So there's like inter-clan conflict, and then there's like conflict with other
tribes,
creatures and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm still rooting for the forbidden love for whatever reason.
I think that was one of your notes.
Yeah. I said no forbidden love. Sad. But I think it's more because I knew it was getting scary. I'm like,
so we wanted lighthearted love.
Happy thoughts. No, it's just gonna be forbidden love, and then everything's gonna be okay. But it didn't.
You need to take notes, and in one of the further arcs, you need to introduce a forbidden love plot, please, just for Des. No, a message for the DM directly.
It has to be for when things are really scary, and then it's like, just kidding.
Yeah, next time things are really scary, actually they're not scary. It was forbidden love the whole time.
But that's actually not even the point, right? It's not even a big part. It was just like, you guys are so silly. It wasn't that big of a deal. Moving on. And everyone's just like, what happened? I'm so confused. Okay, whatever.
I hope they're happy. Okay.
Next. Just keep going. So I just wrote bad reception, which I'm assuming is because you weren't like received well, or
everyone was mad to see Viper, basically.
Yeah. I wrote we got to get to the bottom of things. I was like, we really need to get, and it just, the bottom of things is getting very,
Deeper
very
and deeper
deep.
and deeper.
I don't want to get to the bottom anymore.
Stop getting to the bottom of things and just leave, honestly.
Literally. It's so funny reading these notes because obviously it's just like play by play. And then I'm like, ah, I was so innocent back then.
Exactly.
Everyone's against the brother, the
Yep.
scraggly brother. They just want to get it over
He's not
with.
actually scraggly. You read into that.
I know, but
he's still a buff fighter type Tabaxi.
Oh, I didn't think like weak frail. I think this little, like, he got a little snaggle tooth.
He's
kind
like
of
alley cat.
kind of rough around the edges, maybe a scar in his eyebrow. That's what I think of scraggly.
Okay.
It's really funny though because my interpretation influences everything about my perception, but you might not be trying to communicate any of that. But I'm just like, yeah, that's how it is.
That's him now. Yeah. I think I took notes on what he looked like other than like probably also a panther like Viper. So yeah, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's fun to just think what I want.
Totally.
So yeah, you're investigating. I wrote crime scene investigation, like CSI.
Yeah.
But that's when things just got so scary, and that's also when I stopped taking notes. My last notes were spooky ooky blood magic, bad water. That's it. And there was so much happened, but I got
that kind of sums it all up, really.
Spooky ooky blood magic, bad water.
Bad water.
That's where it ends. I think I did pretty good. There was like some gaps, but it was pretty like, and this happened, and then just spooky ooky. Pretty much. But I find it so off-putting and scary. Like truly, I am afraid. It's I don't know, it's so nerve-wracking to me.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. It is totally unpredictable. And especially even in character, with it being a banned school of magic, essentially, it's something none of us would know anything about. Yeah. Like, even those of us who know stuff about magic don't know stuff about this magic. So it's just an unknown for everybody.
I don't know, like, it's ironic. I don't like magic. Even though that's pretty much the premise of all of this.
Yeah, I was gonna say D&D kind of is just magic land.
But I don't like it. I don't like the magic part. It's scary.
You need to go play like a D&D campaign that's like a bake-off or something, where it's just totally mundane experiences just in a fantasy world.
Literally. Not even fantasy. Just a world.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, I mean, a lot happened. You're doing investigating. The little chameleon lizard iguana friend is under some sort of
He's
something.
Hanging out with Elnora. He's better now.
Yeah, you found
did work, so that was really helpful for our science experiment because we weren't sure if there was going to be a way to like stop the magic, kind of.
But to what degree, you don't know yet. Like how?
Well, it seemed to stop it entirely because before he was under the influence, his eyes changed color and everything.
Okay.
It was as if he no longer had control over his brain, other than get out and be aggressive, sort of thing. So as soon as that spell was cast, that all changed, and he went back to how he'd been before. So it seems like that works, which is good to know if we need it down the road.
Yeah, I hate possession too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not so much possession as it's a charm. Like, could be argued as similar to possession, I suppose. But because of the level, I think we're level 6 at this point. I don't have that many spell slots that I can cast Dispel Magic in. Like, I think I only had 2 at this point because it's quite a high level spell. It was pretty to me at that point. So we have it going forward if we need to deal with something using similar magic, but in very limited capacity. I have to like ration out how I'm going to use it.
All of that stuff, I completely forget that's actually what's happening.
Oh, yeah.
Like in my head, you guys are just sitting around a table making up stories. there's nothing else like influencing whether it works out or the level that you're able to do something and the skills and all the stuff that your specific character has. That completely, like, I mean, I'm very aware of it, but when we're in it, all of that leaves my head, and I'm just picturing everyone's just literally telling stories. And then we did this. And then, like it's not realistic, but it's good to be like, reminded. So
well, even with Dispel Magic, it's a limited spell. Like it can dispel magics up to a certain level, but if those magics are very high level magics themselves,
that's what I meant. That's what I meant when like you don't know to what level it's going to work, because it worked on him, but you don't know if it affects.
So there's ways when you cast it against a really high magic that like you basically roll to see if it can influence it anyway. Like it's not just no, you can't affect this high magic. So there's a possibility it could work, but it would be like stretching the potential of what Brenna has in her capability.
Yeah, and it's all chance. So it really is like,
because with lower level magics it's automatic, which is but with the higher level ones you never know.
But so you found the trapdoor, you're going, you're trying to find it, but to my understanding it's not anywhere near the pond.
No. It's a different direction. Yeah,
different direction.
Off into the jungle, and not really a way that seems to be well traveled by the general population of the village. Like it's definitely his personal little escape route to some little place that he's presumably traveling to, or something's coming to him. Who knows?
I got the heebie-jeebies. I'm so jumpy. Every noise, I'm like,
I'm sorry. I like your cat. Just blame it all on Tangent.
The problem, this is why we do things this way. I have uncontrollable overactive imagination. Emphasis on uncontrollable. Like many people, you have a very good imagination. That's fine. I can't control it. There's no distinction for me. I get way too immersed. So I need like limits set on me. Yeah. The fact that I know so little is to everyone's benefit. Mine mostly because I need to sleep at night. Yeah. Anyways, I'm so scared. But okay, so you're going to the trapdoor, and we're gonna see what happens next.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like I would throw up.
I'm glad that I didn't carry on.
It's interesting though, because like last time I was just so like my heart was pumping. There was so much excitement. Like my heart rate isn't high, but I feel physically sick this time. I'm like, I can't. This is. Well,
last time also like it was scary, but we kind of finished the scary bit. Like we didn't leave. We were running away and being chased. Yes, but it wasn't so much a cliffhanger as like right now we're literally in the middle of solving a murder.
Yeah, and like last time it was known conflict.
Yeah, this walked into everything blind.
Yeah, and the only thing that was suspenseful was how you were going to overcome the known conflict. This is unknown. Yeah, and we don't know if we're going to make it. We don't even know what we're up against.
Bad water.
Ookie spooky bad magic, or what is ookie spooky blood magic bad water.
Yeah.
In conclusion, very excited for what happens next. Also very scared. I'm scared. There's a lot of varies.
Yeah. I think that we'll be able to finish the second half of this arc next time. It might be just as scary, but I think we'll be able to finish it. So there will be a cliffhanger, probably. I think
just as ookie spooky
blood magic bad.
I'm not even trying to say it in like a cute way. I feel that just feel bad in my mouth.
Bad
water. Pretty much. Okay, well, that was exciting. Yep. I'm looking forward to what happens next. Hope everyone survives. And we'll see.
Yep, we'll find out. Do you want to roll some dice?
Yeah, let's do it. Hopefully it's an indication. We haven't done a lot in a while, but I like did we do the cotton candy ones last time?
We did this one with the liquid core last
Oh,
time.
right, because that's new.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go with the cotton candy ones. The, like, blue and pink, kind of.
The blue and pink.
Is that... maybe I'm not seeing everything.
I have this one that's blue and pink?
No, that's, like, magenta and teal.
Yeah,
that.
This one? Okay.
I mean, maybe it's not even blue or pink, but
It
that's
has
the one I'm talking about.
corners. It has some, like, purpley.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's sky bluish mostly. Okay. Be good, friend. Be good. 6.
Ah, that was the same as last time.
Was it? Was it a 6 last time?
I'm pretty sure. I was very disappointed that it was below 10. I think it was like
below 10. Yeah. We need to the dice. I'm telling you, my dice are really mad at me. I haven't been using them enough lately. I think I need to just buy all new dice. So
well, I'm not sure about that.
Great solution.
But that just means next time it's gonna be ooky spooky again.
Well, that's accurate.
Okay. Well, I guess the dice is all knowing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All hail the gods. Thanks
for joining us.
Hey.
I'm almost convinced no one else has heebie-jeebies like I do, so we're good.
But everyone takes delight in watching you get heebie-jeebies, so thank you for bringing joy to us all.
This isn't like, I'm not playing anything up. This is real. I'm scared.
This is real life.
To me, it is. That is the problem.
Yeah.
It blurs the lines of reality for me, and I have no way of escaping.
I love it. I love escaping into a fantasy just for a bit.
It's fun to escape in, but when you can't get out.
Well, we should write you up a character and you can just join us in the fantasy full on.
No, I think it's this is good for now.
Okay.
We're good. I like this way better. Okay, well.
We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Now this is a story all about how my D&D parties came about. And I'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, and I'll tell you this week's adventure of a Bard and Ranger.